Actually, earlier this week, I spoke to the faculty advisor, Dr. James Rhoads. I talked to him about what kind of organization and preparation goes into making it such a great event like this. And also, he explained why Westminster puts so much time and effort into this convention every 4 years and why it's so important to Westminster College.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Well, the purpose of the mock convention today, as it was in the 1930s when it began, is to just introduce students to the world of politics, to give them an opportunity to participate and debate the issues of the day and try to find out what their candidates that are running for president are saying. It's just an educational experience about the American political process.
Dr. Rhoads is in charge of this year's mock election, and he explains why this tradition is so important.
Nowadays, the students today have no first-hand recollection of a convention that was contested. And because of that, the convention seems a bit archaic to them. And so our task, and it's not easy, is to try to bring this alive for students. It doesn't really, in some ways, mimic the actual conventions today because they're really far different than they were in the 1930s when we began this process, or when other people began this process. But we're trying to get people interested in debating the issues, talking about politics, considering the candidates, considering all the issues that are involved in this presidential election. And it's just something that we feel we have to do. I think as an educational institution, we would be remiss if we didn't afford students this opportunity. And so we just need to continue with it and push it and promote it and hope as many people as possible become involved.
The budget for this year's mock convention is about $25,000. This money comes from the college and from the student government. It mainly helps to defray the cost of the keynote speaker. This year's keynote speaker is Paul Begala from CNN's Crossfire.
Well, he's a very telegenic and effective speaker for his side of the political aisle, the Democratic Party. It's always for the party that's out of power. This time it's a Democratic convention. You know, we've got to look at a couple of things. We've got to look at a national figure. That's the way it's always been. But we also have some budget constraints as well. And Mr. Begala is a well-known speaker and a well-known political analyst. And fortunately for us, he falls within our allotted budget.
Preparation began last spring when Dr. Rhoads started gathering students in order to work on the mock convention. This group of students later became a class which was held last semester. Rhoads explains exactly what this class did to get the convention off the ground.
Well, we started in the previous spring in which we went out and solicited people who wanted to be on the committee, who wanted to work on this. And we put together a student group of about 24, and we spent all of last semester doing the legwork involved in putting this together, because there's several different levels. You've got to set up the field house so that it looks like a convention hall, so that's some students were doing that. You've got to write the platform that will be debated. You've got to try to get students to sign up. There's a whole host of things that have to be done. And we had, I think, a very good group of students this year, very interested, very motivated, some of whom have been interested enough in politics that they've been working for presidential candidates on their own. So they've just become very interested, and it's been a pleasure working with that group.
Another job of the executive committee is to, of course, find campaign managers. In order to become a campaign manager, you first had to apply, then you were interviewed, and then finally you were picked by the executive committee. Now, the mock convention uses about 700 to 800 people.
That no one that's here has any memory of the convention 4 years ago, none of the students. So it is a difficult thing. You've got to educate them, and it's really a year-long task. And the events that have happened in politics in the last several years, though, have helped. You know, when you have a war, when you have an impeachment of a president, when you have a tied presidential election, people naturally become more interested in the political world, and I think that hopefully that will translate to the mock convention.
So what can students expect at this year's mock election? Dr. Rhoads explains you can find many unique learning opportunities.
What I can tell them to expect is that they will have an opportunity to hear from one of the leading political analysts in the country. They will have an opportunity to look at the issues that are confronting the candidates this year. They'll be able to debate those issues. They'll be able to hear from the different candidates. They'll be able to express their view, not only on the issues, but on the candidates themselves. And in those 2 days' time, hopefully they will learn a lot about the American political process and why it's so important for everyone to be involved.